The Mount Moon Review podcast, while a podcast about Pokemon, is not intended for children. You can expect some instances of adult humor, coarse language, and adult situations. Parental discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 31 of the Mount Moon Review podcast, the only podcast that brings all the Mons to the yard. And I have a milkshake. I am your host, the Razgrees, with my co-host, the Blue Duck Gold Duck, bringing you everything from the past week in the world of Pokemon in about an hour. And as soon as Duck recovers from his laughing fit,
That's not the intro we practiced at all.
but it was awesome. And I do have a milkshake. I do have a milkshake.
Where we made a reference and I forgot the thing that makes it a reference.
Well, I didn't want to take a sip on an audio podcast. I mean, come on. And so, just, usually we do the 1 hour podcast here on Twitch or Facebook. It all depends on what we're feeling this week. But this week we are back on Twitch. And this is a special edition of the podcast as we are doing our first extra live stream of the 2020 campaign. The reason being, we were going to wait a couple weeks, but unfortunately, we do have some bad news in that the president of the Children's Miracle Network, John Lauk, passed away, and he was very instrumental in the Extra Life program. So we decided we're going to kick everything off a little early, and anything. For the people that are in chat tonight, if you do any kind of donations, we're asking that you use our Extra Life link, which will be popping up periodically in our chat, so that you can donate to our Extra Life campaign for 2020. But it's not going to be all doom and gloom, and it's not going to be a 24-hour stream. We're going to do the podcast just like we normally do. But let's first start with our tradition. Duck, how's your week been, buddy?
It's a pretty good week. Pretty chill.
But did you have a milkshake?
I didn't get a milkshake.
I've had, this is my second one.
Wow. Raz gets 2 milkshakes. Duck gets none.
Yeah, but it looks like you might have added to your plushie collection back there.
No.
No? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I've had an absolutely miserable time at work this week. And it's only Monday. So let's talk about some Pokemon action. What do you have for us on the rundown today?
All right. So, starting off with video games. Pokemon. We got some updates on Pokemon Home. Apparently, some outlets got their hands on it and were able to give reviews and give us some information. And first and foremost, probably the most unfortunate thing, most disappointing thing about Pokemon Home is you can't put eggs in there.
Yeah, I know you were really looking forward to the fact that you could finally get the eggs out of your inventory, shove them somewhere off, and just forget about them. But unfortunately, yeah, we're not going to be able to put eggs in Pokemon Home, unfortunately.
Yep, we gotta hatch them all.
Gotta hatch them all. Gotta hatch them all.
And then this just answers some questions that I didn't really know were questions till I read it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's something I should have thought about. So Pokemon from Pokemon Let's Go won't receive additional data like what abilities they have until after they're transferred to Pokemon Sword and Shield.
So the question is going to be kind of on that. Is it going to be the system will generate them just randomly? Or is there something in the data that is going to let them...
I have no clue. You mean, like, is it just going to choose between their regular ability and their hidden ability, like, at random? Or is it going to keep in track how your catch combo was? Like, was there a way to make hidden ability Pokemon in Let's Go? I have no clue.
Yeah, it's probably going to be random, but we don't
Probably.
know.
It might not even be hidden abilities available at all.
It's very possible. I mean, we know that Pokemon Home was in mind when they were in production per Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu, and all those. But what we don't know is if they really cared about it a whole heck of a lot.
Well, then again, when you think about it, when they made the Virtual Console on the DS and you could transfer Pokemon like from the red and blue versions, I think they either had a really high chance or it was like 100% guaranteed that those Pokemon had their hidden abilities.
Really?
I think it might have been guaranteed. I'd have to double check, but so maybe they'll all have hidden abilities. I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that they did that. I never actually used the transfer ability with the Virtual Console. Maybe I ought to give that a try.
Yeah, I didn't either. But yeah, if you want to keep any of those Pokemon, it's a good way to get the legendary birds. If it is guaranteed, I would get the legendary birds on the Virtual Console and transfer them up because they're not breedable. So if you didn't get it during the event, then you got to hack them.
Don't tell people that.
Well, speaking of hacking, there are people in a Facebook group talking about players like they've been seeing Littens in raids. People have Litten.
Really?
Yeah. Now, Litten's in the game code. It was in the game code from day one, just like Gigantamax Snorlax, but it hasn't been implemented as a way to obtain in the game. As far as I've heard, as far as all the news outlets have heard, there's no way to get them. So it's probably a hacker that put it in and bred it and traded it. And I really don't like that.
Yeah, and there's some plausible deniability in some of the stuff that people are obtaining, because if it's possible to be in the game and you're not the one that did it and someone gives it to you, especially through the Wonder Trade, or what's the term for Sword and Shield? It's not Wonder Trade.
Surprise trade.
Surprise trade. There's people out there who have hacked Pokemon in their decks right now that might not even realize it. They might just think they're really lucky, because people are hacking these Pokemon and they are surprise trading them. So they're all over the place.
I didn't even think about that. I thought I went on in the one Facebook group chat I'm in, and I was like, they should make an update, and anybody who has a Litten gets their save data deleted. But yeah, I didn't even think about Wonder Trades. Like how many 5-year-olds are getting Littens, and they think, "Oh, I didn't know Litten was in here! Yay!
I got a Litten!"
Yeah.
But people are going to have these, so it's going to be very, very hard to police it. And then you got the...
Yeah, I mean, it's just out there now.
Yeah, and there was people that were... There was a screenshot going around of a max raid battle, and someone was using a Mew, and people were like, "Oh, this person's a hacker! This person's a hacker!" No, you can get Mew in the game. It's there. You just have to... It's very unlikely that anybody did it because you had to have the Pokeball Plus, and you had to have not transferred it into Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee. Everybody and their mother already did that. So you could still buy the Pokeball Plus. I've seen them on the shelves.
Yeah.
But I'm not going out and buying another one just so I can have a Mew. Especially with Pokemon Home coming out. I'm just going to transfer the sucker in.
Yep, there's plenty of legitimate ways to get a Mew at this point.
So I don't... People are getting all kinds of defense about that, but I haven't heard anything about these Littens. So
I just heard about it like an hour before our thing started, and they're like, "Why is it Litten?" I'm like, "It's probably somebody that likes Litten that knows how to hack and hacked Litten in, and then bred it and traded it."
You've said this before. You, not me. You. Every Pokemon is someone's favorite Pokemon.
Right.
Look at Snom. That thing's like a cult following on Twitter right now.
A lot of people like Snom.
Yeah, but it's a stupid little ball. I mean, but every single Pokemon is someone's favorite Pokemon. So that was the big controversy behind not having the national dex. But so if someone's favorite Pokemon is Litten, and they know how to do it, they're going to get themselves a Litten. And I think part of the reason you're seeing a lot of these Wonder Trades going on is people are preventing what you said. If they come out with an update, if you have a Litten in your save data, we're going to ban your console, or we're going to nerf it or bork it and do something. Right. If there's hundreds of them out there, are you going to ban every single one of them? Are you going to
there's no way
for that kid that did a Wonder Trade and got one? You're not. That would be a horrible PR. Oh my lord, they'll be on the front page of the newspaper tomorrow.
Yeah, no, you're right. With the ability to trade randomly, And I'm sure people are doing that
Oh,
because they don't
absolutely.
understand or they don't care.
Or they're specifically trying to get other ones out there so that they can't be targeted.
Yeah.
Just my opinion on it, anyway. Okay, so Litten's out there. That's funny. Somebody send me a Litten.
No.
What else you got for us?
It's blatantly cheating to have a Litten if you know that it's not put in the game. Oh yeah, back to Pokemon Home details. There will be some sorting features. They said they didn't go into detail on what they are. So hopefully it's just throw them in
Put
National
them
Dex
in
order or something.
National
Yeah.
Dex order. That's what Raz wants. National Dex order.
And the GTS will show you where the Pokemon's data originated. So whether it came from Pokemon Bank or it came from Let's Go or it came from Sword and Shield, it'll tell you any of those. Or I guess Pokemon Go eventually. And I think that's pretty valuable because it's a lot coming from Pokemon Bank. There is a chance that it was hacked in the heyday of hacking Pokemon like it used to be. But people are hacking Pokemon now in Sword and Shield.
Yeah, I mean, I have
So.
I have a Ditto. I'm fairly confident it's hacked, but I can't say that definitively. Nevertheless, I don't really use it. I just have it, and there's people out there that are going to be doing it, and there's no way with Wonder Trade that you'll ever be able to police it. No.
Yeah. But it's just a feature they added.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to drag and drop even on the Switch. The touchscreen's going to work.
Yeah. You know how many people don't realize the Switch is a touchscreen?
Yeah, I know. And they didn't implement it at all for Pokemon.
No, I'm actually kind of shocked that they didn't. And the Switch having that touchscreen ability, the other day my kids were sitting next to me and I started tapping away because I did not feel like using the thumbstick to type something in. And one of my kids was like, "How'd you do that?" Like, how did you not know that wasn't a touchscreen?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's plenty of people out there that have no idea that the Switch actually is a touchscreen tablet. You can take the Joy-Cons off and use it as a tablet. Some people have actually put versions of Windows on there just because they could. But
yeah, I mean, probably has okay processing.
Yeah, I mean it does. It really does. It's got a heck of a processor in it. All right.
And then finally, one home account will be able to access multiple game saves on the Switch. Probably. This was only revealed from one source.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little confused. Like it's a little confusing if that's actually what it means or not. So the one of the writers of the article I read said this should be.
Now, they have to be on the same Switch, is what you're saying, though.
I think it has to be on the same Switch. I don't think you can link your Pokemon home to different Switches.
Actually, that kind of makes sense. It would do that because it's going to be an independent app within the ecosystem of Pokemon. Mm-hmm. And anytime you start a game on the Switch, it asks you which profile you want to use.
Right.
So I can see that'd be how it works. Is when you load up Pokemon Home, it'll ask you which profile on the Switch that you want to use. That makes perfect sense.
The only problem I see here is if a kid is going into his big brother's save and taking his Pokemon out and putting them.
See, unfortunately, my boys have their own Switches now, so their accounts are off of mine. So I might have to get 3 Pokemon Home accounts. Yeah.
But hey, it's better than. I mean, your kids could just use the free version.
Yeah, and then store them all on. Yeah, let's do that. Save some money.
There you go. It's better than Animal Crossing, right?
I've never played Animal Crossing, to be honest with you.
Oh, well, so like the way it is you develop a town, right?
Right.
And there's normally 4 houses in the town, but like I could have my own town, and then you on the same Switch have your own town, and then somebody else has their own town, or we can all be in the same town. Well, the Animal Crossing that's coming out on the Switch only has 1 town per Switch.
So you would all be on the same town?
Right, and that means things other players do in their game is going to affect things in your game.
I kind of like that.
They want them to all work. They want people to play together, but I I don't think it's gonna be good. Because you can like litter in the game or like affect.
Depends how much of a jerk your family is.
Right. You can affect relationships with NPCs.
I kind of like it, dude. I gotta be honest with you. I kind of like it.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm not that big on Animal Crossing either, so I'm probably not going to get it on release. But
maybe it's one of those
we'll
games
see.
down the line that you end up, who knows?
I'd probably get it eventually. I don't hate the game. It's not like a day one release kind of game for me. It's a nice
few are
zen.
anymore.
It's a very
few
nice
are.
zen, like chill.
I mean, really, the only game I'm looking forward to right now is a new My Hero game, and most people aren't. Excuse me, most people aren't.
I'm looking forward to Mystery Dungeon.
Of course you are. Of course you are. All right, so what's your next on your docket for the evening?
Gigantamax Toxtricity was
Ew.
previously unreleased, but it was in the game's coding since day one, and it's currently available until March 8th in raid battles.
See, we had talked about this, and the whole storyline behind Toxtricity being the catalyst behind the storylines in Sword and Shield was a fan theory that you took and actually kind of expanded on, and we talked about that in a previous podcast, and we figured that was the reason Toxtricity was in there. Wasn't a whole lot of fanfare with this one, just kind of like, yep, here you go, enjoy it.
Yeah, I thought it's definitely okay. If you look at its tail, we don't have images, but if you look at its tail, it's definitely the thing on the hill, the big giant humanoid
Oh, absolutely.
on the hill.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the hill art.
So we might get more information on it on the, with the DLC that's coming out, or it might have something to do with that mythical Pokemon that was hinted at that we would be getting, because there's other shapes on the hill, and maybe those are people, maybe those are Pokemon. One of them looks kind of like a pig, I think. So
Right on.
who knows if we get a silhouette of a pig? Well, we'll talk about the silhouette in a little bit. But the promoted raids currently are in Pokemon Sword is Amped Form Toxtricity. That's the yellow and purple one. Gigantamax Kingler and Gigantamax Grimmsnarl are all promoted right now in Sword. And Shield gets low-key Toxtricity. That's the blue and purple one. And then Hatterene and Orbeetle in their Gigantamax form. So almost every single Gigantamax raid has been promoted at this point, and they'll probably all be added to VGC soon.
Yeah, I see that happen probably quarterly. So, and we're coming up on 2 months now? No. What? How far are we in? How long's this game been out? Quite a while. Shoot.
It came out in November.
You're right, but the first set of rules came out in January though,
January 4th.
As for the VGC. So I'd see somewhere around March or April we would see a new rules update. So that's probably when we get new Gigantamax forms available in competitive play.
Yeah.
I still got a milkshake.
So it was revealed that Korokoro would have a silhouette of the new mythical Pokemon, and it's set to release on the 15th of February. So we'll probably get images sometime this week. Somebody usually gets it before it releases and scans it and uploads the whole thing to the internet.
Somebody wouldn't do that.
No, we used to get believe it or not, we used to get news from Korokoro. Like we got the I think it was the starter evolutions from Sun and Moon on there.
No, I'm talking about somebody wouldn't hack up the
or the
material,
trailer
scan it, and put it on the internet. No, that'd be unethical.
But they did not really put any reveals in Korokoro for the Pokemon Sword and Shield news cycle, probably because of how often it was leaked early on or for Sun and Moon.
Right. And well, the same thing happened with Sword and Shield. I mean, look at 4chan and a lot of Discords actually popped up just to disseminate that information.
Yeah.
You were a member of most of them.
Shh. I don't want to get sued.
I didn't say you distributed anything.
Yeah, I was in there reporting to people.
Okay. Keep going, Duck. Keep us moving. Got to roll.
So Oceania, they're the international competition in Melbourne, I believe is how the locals say it. Yep, is is taking place from February 20th to February 22nd. And the stream schedule for that was announced. Both TCG and VGC are going to stream simultaneously, but the times are going to mess everybody up because it's in Australia. So
it's not going to mess everybody up. It's going to mess people in the United States up.
Right. People trying to watch it live, probably most of our listeners. It's going to start at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I already did the time calculation to translate it to our time. And it's going to end at 4:30 a.m. on February 21st. That's just day one.
Ouch.
Yeah. And then day two is going to be 5:30 p.m. to 4:30 a.m., which is, that's Friday into Saturday, Saturday into Sunday. And then on Sunday, the 22nd, the stream will start at 5:30 p.m. and probably just do the top 8 or the championship matches or whatever they choose to stream that day.
Yeah, I think I'll probably just watch the VODs.
I'm going to watch the finals. I'm going to watch whatever they stream on Sunday, and that's it.
Did they announce at all if we're going to have 2 separate streams like we typically have, or if we're going to do the single
there's
stream?
Going to be a VGC and a TCG stream.
Because at the last one, they did that one streaming channel, and
yeah, that sucked.
Yeah.
Although I did watch Expanded, and I never watched Expanded. It was kind of interesting.
That might have been part of the reason, trying to get people to watch the expanded format, because with the TCG, people are very, I am standard or I am expanded. There's not a whole lot of jumping around in between.
Right.
So that might have been a way to try to do that, or they just might not have had the capability of running 2 streams simultaneously, which is probably the more likely scenario. So yeah, the Oceanic International Championships, cool. I'm still waiting for North American Internationals. Because
they're the last one.
They're always the last one. And that's probably going to be like the big one for the year. Because I know so many competitive players that are just not able to go to London. And I don't, like I said that before, and I've said it 1,000 times.
Oh, you're right.
I do not fault Pokemon for doing this, because it is a world championship. It is not America and Friends championship. So I get it. I understand it. But the bulk of the players are from the U.S. So they're not going to have the same kind of turnouts they're used to having, I don't think, which might not be a bad thing.
Right.
Because you and I attended Worlds last year, and that was a cluster.
I enjoyed it still. It was good.
I mean, I had a good time. Don't misinterpret. But the fact that side events, for example, didn't open, until halfway through the second day, because they were putting out calls for judges like crazy. And then when judges would show up, say, "Okay, I'll judge. What do you need?" "Oh, we don't need you right now."
Yeah.
Do you want judges or not? And that was all day. That was all. Oh, no, I'm sorry, all weekend. They were desperate for judges. They were calling for judges, putting out on all the forums. Judges were coming up to the information desk saying, "Hey, I got my shirt in my hotel. I can go get changed." "Oh, we don't need you right now." And they clearly did. That was the biggest problem. They clearly did need judges. Oh, jeez. Anyway. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to direct us back into DC conversations again.
Oh, it's okay. That's it for video game.
Okay, I guess we're going to move on into TCG at this point?
Yep. And so there's new product called League Battle Decks. Nobody knows anything about them yet, but they were teased.
They look cool.
They're probably going to be kind of like the Versus decks, but like standard cards.
No,
is what I imagine.
I'll tell you what they look like to me. For those of you that go to your local stores and they have Magic Leagues, Magic provides starter decks when they have their open houses. So they'll have their open house and they'll deck, and you just pick your color, because that's the way it works in Magic. And they will just give you a starter deck, and it's provided from Magic. It's not coming from the store, so it's nothing coming out.
Well, they have a retail price,
but they're free. The starter decks are free for people during...
No, I meant the League Battle decks and Pokemon.
No, I'm not saying that they're not. I'm not. No, don't miss. I'm not getting to the Pokemon stuff yet.
Okay.
But these starter decks are pretty basic, but they're ready to go out of the box. You open the box, boom, shuffle up, you're ready to go. That's what these look like. That's what these look like. You buy these, and when someone new comes into your league, well, what's your favorite type of Pokemon? You like grass types? Well, let me give you this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's right out the gate. They have a deck ready to go and can actually be able to play as opposed to the bag o' cards. So I am 100%, if that's what these are, I am 100% for them. And I know a lot of leagues actually take their bulk and they build these, so they have these for players coming in. I always had boxes of theme decks in my bag, just for when new players came in. I could give them a theme deck and say, here, just use this for the night, and we'll teach you how to play. This is, I think, a better solution to that, because theme decks are they're not competitive, but there's always a way to use them, like the ho-ho deck. I can't just give that deck to somebody and say, here, play it. They're not going to get it.
Right.
But I can give them something from like Ultra Prism and they'd be fine. Other decks, trying to get the dynamics of like tag teams and stuff like that, those aren't in the theme decks. So again, I would like to see what these are going to be, but if these are anything like the Magic's version of a starter deck, I'm 100% for it.
I'm picturing it's probably going to be like a standard version of our versus decks. But we'll have to see, because the price doesn't reflect any product we currently have, so there was nothing to compare to. I don't know what the price is on them either. Maybe there's something really cheap and it's something for starters, or maybe it's like, hey, have good cards.
Maybe. We'll see what happens. But I'm actually kind of psyched about these.
And then the last bit of TCG news is it looks like Pokemon knew how good Frostmoth was going to be, because in our next TCG set, we're going to be getting a gold rare version of a card that was just a rare. It's not even a GX or anything.
No, and it's one that is kind of
a V.
It's a V. They're pretty sought after, and it's one of those things that kind of flew under the radar. People weren't really expecting it, and then all of a sudden it's become kind of a staple at this point.
Right. Yeah, this is something lots of people are writing articles about. It wasn't any. I'm pretty sure I put it in when it was revealed. I'm like, hey, this card's going to make a splash. It's got the same ability as Blastoise, and Blastoise was a stage 2 and saw play. So it's probably going to be, pretty good. Apparently, it's killing it, because stage 1 or one prize decks that can swing with the Pokemon Vs are really good, and the only other deck that can do that right now in standard is a fire type deck. So you basically countered the whole meta with Frostmoth.
And we're getting reprint. Awesome.
Yeah, and they're printing a gold version. Now this reminds me of back in the black and white days. They would have a really good card. For example, the Blastoise with Deluge that had the same ability as Ice Dance, and they would print in the next set, or a couple sets away from that, while it was still in standard, they would print a shiny gold version of the card.
Oh.
So like the card would be gold, have a gold border and everything, and be all textured, and then it would have a shiny Blastoise on it. And they did that for like Zoroark and Charizard and the Propaganda Execute. So like staple cards got secret rares in later sets, and it looks like they're bringing that back.
It'd be kind of cool to take a card that gains popularity and then use that as the determination which ones to do with secret rares. I know that's not possible because of how far ahead you have to plan.
Oh, right.
But the idea of that's kind of intriguing.
They can predict it, usually. I mean, you can tell if a card's going to be good or not. Sometimes cards do blow your mind, like, oh, I didn't even think of that scenario, but...
That's typically the best kind of meta deck, is ones where someone's come up with an idea that just wasn't foreseeable.
Oh. Yeah, you mean somebody comes up with I'm trying to think of a under the radar, like somebody, like all of a sudden Pidgeot blew up, or Pidgeotto blew up, and now there's a secret rare Pidgeotto.
Yeah,
because when Pidgeotto came out, nobody touched it.
No, then Pidgey Control, man, boom, done.
Yep. And then Torque got his hands on it, and now.
And then 2 days later, it sells out on TCG Player.
Yeah, they should write letters to Tord and be like, "Do you think which one of these cards in this set do you think is the best?"
Well,
and then Tord gets to pick the secret rares.
It's not as if it's a secret that Pokemon Company does hire professional players. So there's people on staff that have that foresight, and they know what kind of cards are going to be beneficial to the meta. So It's possible.
And just to clarify, there is no secret rare Pidgey or Pidgeotto. I was just saying if Pokemon Company was able to predict that and then printed that like a secret rare Pidgeotto for the next set, even though it was not popular when it came out. It was just the what if scenario.
Gotcha. Understood. Okay. And you said that's all we got for TCG?
Yep, that's it.
Even with the new set just coming out, Sword and Shield just released, and that's all we have?
I mean, we already covered the good cards.
We did. Marnie is still very much a thing. Let me tell you. I've been hearing from a lot of people, a lot of league leaders have been complaining about people not understanding how to use Marnie, and it's resulting in the professor community having a bit of a rift. They're trying to. People are arguing now about how to penalize this misplay.
If you, I haven't experienced the misplay in my league. What's the?
So the way the card is you shuffle the cards in your hand, not into your deck. You shuffle the cards in your hand, and then you put them on the bottom of your deck and draw new cards. Most people are interpreting it as people that have the same issues that you and I have, and they are shuffling their hand into their deck. And this is my interpretation of the rules, and I about half the people out there agree with me. Well, they all agree with me, but they don't like it. That is an automatic game loss. Shuffling your hand into your deck. A lot of professors, though, are not enforcing that rule when it comes to Marnie, since it's such a prevalent misplay, and they're treating it as like a double prize penalty. That being said, as a little PSA to everyone out there who's playing, if your league's doing that or somewhere you've gone, you've seen that, don't get upset with the judge you go to at the next league or the next league cup or the next league challenge when you get that game loss, because that is how the rule is interpreted. If you actually read the rule book and you do it the way you're supposed to, that is an automatic game loss.
That is considered a gameplay error major.
Yeah.
Which is a game loss. But as a tournament organizer, you can be like, it was understandable. I didn't see any malintent in what you did, and then possibly do it. They say you, as the tournament organizer, you get the final say in rules. So it's all up to the discretion of the tournament organizers. Now, you
can de-escalate, but that doesn't mean that the person that say I go to a league or I play in a league cup and I receive a game loss because I screwed up with Marnie. And then I come down to your league cup, and then someone does that I'm playing against, and they don't get a game loss, they just get a prize penalty. You better believe I'm submitting a ticket. And contrary to what people think, Pokemon Company does take those tickets seriously, and they do review them, and they do contact judges, and it can very much affect you. So a lot of judges are not gonna get penalized for following the rules verbatim. They could get penalized trying to be a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're watching our podcast live on Twitch, we do have a chat room on there. We typically don't interact with it because we're recording audio for our iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and such like that. But somebody did make up an interesting point in the chat right here. Is they say it happened twice to them at a pre-release event, and pre-release events don't count for anything. They don't. I held the distinction of being one of those people that loves to point out that I have never not won a pre-release tournament. Me and my oldest son, every pre-release we've ever played in, we've won. And I take pride in that fact. It's a complete fluke, but I still take pride in it. Pre-release events are something that they are premier events. Make no mistake. But I see those as a learning opportunity. Whenever I had anybody come into my league and they said, hey, so I want to learn to play. Great, let's teach you how to play. Well, I want to play in a tournament. Well, we have a league challenge coming up. That might be okay, but I recommend anybody always start at a pre-release. If you go to a pre-release tournament, you're going to learn how Swiss play works. That's a big thing for some people, just not understanding how Swiss play is. But you can also learn the whole dynamic with the match slips and just the overall way Pokemon tournaments are run. And there's nothing really on the line, so you have nothing to lose. So people are a little bit more forgiving and not as hyper competitive. And I just think that is the best event for someone to get their feet in the door. Is just go to your pre-releases, do those first, then work your way up to the league challenges, then go to your league cups and what have you. If that were to happen at a league pre-release, as a judge, I'd like to say that I would do it this way. I would say that is going to be a game loss. However, knowing that, don't let it happen again. Let's continue playing the game just to finish it out and have a good time. That's how I'd like to handle it. But there's a big rift in the professor community. People are just arguing back and forth bitterly about, what is the correct way to handle it. I know how I would handle it as a professor. I don't know how Duck would handle it. And you can see him over there stroking his beard intently. He's trying to determine with himself what he would do.
Oh, no, I mean, I would have to give game losses if it was a tournament that like people paid to play in.
Yeah. So it just be aware of that, folks. It is a game loss, so don't get offended if you do receive one.
Yeah. I received a game loss for mixing up Sycamore and N at my first tournament.
Ouch!
All I needed to do was hit an energy off of the Sycamore, and I picked up my hand and shuffled it into the deck. And then the dude was like, "Oh, I don't want to win like that. Let's just see what your top 7 cards were." And there were 3 energy in my top 7. And he's like, "No." But I learned a valuable lesson about shuffling your hand into your deck.
Absolutely.
That was long before I became a professor.
And now he's just an aficionado, and he's the go-to guy, to learn the rules. But yeah, irreversible game state, you're done. Sorry.
Yep. There's no way to go back through your deck and pick out all the cards that were in your hand because you could just lie.
Yeah. Sorry for your luck, kids.
Yep.
Moving on.
Next is Pokemon Go. This was a last-minute thing I forgot to type in the outline, so I'll just read it from the article.
Okay, you do that.
On Pokemon Day, February 27th, you can find Eevee and Pikachu in the wild wearing party hats. And from 7K eggs...
Again with this... Whatever.
It's Pokemon's birthday.
I'm sick of the party hats.
You can also find Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle wearing party hats out of 7K eggs.
Whoop.
And Armored Mewtwo will be available for raids one more time, wearing a party hat.
Are you freaking...
No. Woo! I thought you were going to flip out, and then you didn't flip out, and I was like, oh, okay. But you did. Woo, that was good.
Forget you.
Clone Pokemon are going to be introduced. As far as I know, I don't think they've had clone Pokemon before. But it'll be Clone Venusaur, Clone Charizard, and Clone Blastoise. They'll be in 4-star raids. And
I have to imagine that's because of the
movie coming out that day.
Yeah, the movie come back out on Netflix.
27th.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Mewtwo strikes back again.
Mewtwo returns and then strikes back again. I believe that's the title of the movie.
I do believe it's Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolutions. But
yeah, it is. Oh yeah, then he evolves.
And then he evolves into Mew 3.
Yeah. So I don't think they were released during when the Japanese movie came out. So this should be the first time you get clone Pokemon. And then a special clone Pikachu is going to be able to photobomb your snapshots, and then you can catch it similar to how they did Smeargle and something else. Detective Pikachu, I think.
Yeah, there was a Detective Pikachu one.
And that one's interesting because, I guess it'd probably be spoilers for the movie. Never
that
mind.
Movie's almost as old as you.
Hey, maybe there's new people that never saw it and don't want me to spoil it. And I just realized I'm wrong anyway. I didn't think Pikachu got cloned, but it does. And then 2 special trades a day for players. And it runs the event for the party hats and Mewtwo's and everything. That runs from the 25th of February to March 2nd.
That's a pretty good clip of time. Usually they're not that long.
Yeah, and then they're going to do a Raid Day. Sorry, Raz, more party hats. On March 1st, where you can get Gengar or Nidorino in party hats. And that might seem weird, but if you think back to the opening of Pokemon Red and Blue
Yep.
version.
Yep. I get that. I understand why they're picking those ones. I'm just tired of the damn hats.
Yeah, at first I was like, why? And then I was like, oh. Really cool. If you watch the video play, you might be able to see my smile when it hit me.
The realization struck.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's Pokemon Go.
Yep, and then the last bit of news is that they are doing a Pokemon of the Year competition on the internet right now.
Kinda.
So if you Google Pokemon of the Year, it'll take you to a survey where it'll give you like the Pokemon. It'll give you each region to select, and you can vote for one Pokemon per region. And you can do that every day until February 14th. And then on February 27th, they'll reveal which Pokemon got the most votes.
Are they not showing anything leading up to it? They're just going to wait to the very end and give you the numbers?
No, it's going to be like 2 weeks after the end because it ends on February 14th.
No, what I mean is, can you see like a live tally?
Oh, no, there's no live tally.
Gotcha.
Pikachu, Charizard, Mewtwo, probably going to be the top ones. They usually are. Actually, Greninja snuck in there at one point throughout the years.
I think if Mewtwo's not in there, it's going to be weird.
The year of the Rattata.
Yeah, it's not going to be year of the Rattata, folks.
Galarian Rattata is a fire type.
It is year of the fire rat. Just saying.
but what if the Rattata is in the top percentage of Rattata? Then it could be the favorite.
Moving on.
That's it. There's nothing to move on to.
Oh, that's a bold-faced lie.
We're going to leave you with.
That is not.
Oh, do you have something?
No, I saw more in your outline than that.
We went over everything in the outline.
No, we didn't.
We just got to Misk.
Okay, fine. Did you see the new trailer for Pokemon Masters?
No.
Yes, there was a new trailer released. And it has a voiceover of a professor saying about his years and years of research, but he's got to get back to the basics. And I don't have the exact line in front of me. But then he grabs his jacket and walks out, and as he's putting his jacket on, talks about he's going to go back to battling Pokemon. And we showed the logo last week during the podcast, and I told you it's Professor Oak. And if anybody says this isn't Professor Oak, you can just bite my hairy butt.
It's definitely Professor Oak.
Yeah, so Professor Oak's going to be a playable character in Pokemon Masters, folks. Let's just call it confirmed right now.
I mean, Professor Kukui's already in there.
Professor Kukui's already in there, so maybe they can get into a wrestling match. I don't know. But you're back to Pokemon Masters now, right?
Yeah. So I've been spending time watching TV shows, which I don't normally do, and I needed something to like occupy my hands while I watch, and so I tried different games, but what ended up happening was I wasn't paying a lot of attention to the TV shows, and I feel obligated to pay attention to them. So I was I decided to do app games.
Well, well, there's really no problem with that. But what kind of TV shows were you watching, Duck?
I've been watching anime.
I've
always watched anime, but I've been watching like specific anime.
Is there any
certain reason?
Is there a certain reason behind that?
Yeah, it's for the Untitled Anime Podcast.
The Untitled Anime Podcast, brought to you by the Mount Moon Crew. Yeah, folks, so just for those that are at all interested, and because typically people who like Pokemon also like anime, we are going to be starting another podcast coming up here very, very soon, where we're going to be doing reviews and talking about anime in general, and we're going to be adding a new cast member to the Mount Moon Crew. Some of you may have known her from our online sessions, especially when we do online streams. Sadar, from our chat, who is here right now, she will be joining us for the Untitled Anime Podcast on the Mount Moon Crew Network. So look forward to that in the very near future. And we'll give you some more details for that as we're going. And there's also another project that we're working on right now, but I think we're gonna keep that one under wraps.
Okay.
But in the very near future, there are going to be 3 shows on the Mount Moon Cruise trestle board, and you can look forward to all of those on our network that is going to be up and running here very soon. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Another big thing is we're actually, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, we're doing this stream right now as an Extra Life event. We're going to be doing Extra Life events all year long. Not every single stream, but a lot of streams are going to be Extra Life, and you always see the Extra Life logo on there. Like right now, anybody who wants to donate to our Extra Life page can do so. If you just look for the Mount Moon Crew on Extra Life, if you're listening to the audio version, or you can look for the link on any of our social media. That's something I highly recommend you do. It's very rewarding. It's a very good program. The Extra Life program is something that we try to do, but we also last year we had the my page. We had a team, however, and we had one other member of the team, and that his name was Ed. He was from our Gettysburg League that I started before I had to move. This year, Ed is going to be a part of our team again on the Mount Moon Crew, except it's not going to be as Ed. It's going to be as the Gettysburg Pokemon League. So the Gettysburg Pokemon League has joined the Mount Moon Crew in partnership for the Extra Life campaign this year. And we're inviting other leagues that might want to compete against this league to join the Mount Moon Crew. So if you have a league or part of a league and are all interested in competing, going donation for donation with both Duck and I individually, and like I said, the Gettysburg Pokemon League, as they've joined us for this fundraiser, we would encourage you to contact us on social media, and we'll get you set up in that. And speaking of our social media, you can always find us on Twitter. Both of us have Twitter. My name on there is _Raspberry01, which is also the same as my Facebook and my Twitch channel. Duck, all you have is Twitter right now, because we're still waiting for you to get your butt back onto Twitch.
Yeah, I need money to do that.
They do have blood banks. They buy plasma. You're thinking about it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't say anything about sperm bank. I said plasma. So, we don't want any more little ducklings running around. But we'll get you going on there. We'll get you a Facebook. If you look for us on Facebook, you can find us at Mount Moon Podcast on Facebook. That page is struggling just a little bit, so give it a like. You'll feel better about yourself in the morning. Duck, do you have anything else for us this week? Oh, wait a minute. No, before we stop. How are you doing with Temtem?
I haven't played Temtem.
Exactly. I don't think anybody is. I've been seeing a lot of. I'm following them on their social media, and it seems like they're doing a lot to try to fix issues that wouldn't have come out until they released the game and had a large base on there. So I understand that, but it just seems like the player base is dying off very, very quickly. And
yeah, I mean, I'll probably revisit it again, but currently not. I'm glad I got in there when it was 35, because it's probably going to be 60 when it's fully released. And I think it's going to be good when it's fully released. But,
Well, keep us up to date on Temtem, because I'm waiting until you say it's good before I buy it.
Okay.
Right on, folks. So that all being said, thank you for listening to episode 31 of the Mount Moon Review Podcast. And we're here each and every Monday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And look for more information in regards to our new show, the Untitled Anime Podcast. Until next week, folks, Duck, get us out of here.
Just remember, until next week, if it's too good to be amped, it's probably low key.
That was just bad. Have a week, folks.
I haven't done one for a while.
Have a week.
Just because your card is magic, you think you're safe because you killed my life orb. Baby, do you dare to not flinch? Cause I'm coming at you like a dark pulse. I know you're gonna throw. You're gonna throw a star, no critical hits.